right, y'all. On episode, whatever number this is.
Wow.
I have Iniko in the pink room with Drea. Okay. I'm really excited. They have introduced, I think, a whole generation to affirmations through the virality of TikTok. Look at TikTok doing good. Okay. No, but there's something to say about where that type of music and like, you know, just like the energy comes from for you to even put your pen to paper and express that. So I'm really glad to have them in the studio today. And we're going to talk everything about their experiences with music and all that good stuff. So
let's do it.
Let's get into it. Iniko.
That's me. Hello.
What is the first song you remember hearing?
The first song I remember hearing is the first song I remember hearing, I would have to say it was my dad's. So my dad, he's in this reggae band, Soldiers. He would play his music in the car. He had a cassette that just had like, you know, a couple different like playlists and stuff on there. So he had one.
A cassette, y'all. A cassette.
I'm dead. It's been, I know it's 2023. I haven't seen those in a while.
They sounded like this when you touch them. You're like, you know what I mean?
Right. Yes. Yeah. I know. I
want that sound back.
As we talk about it now, like talking about the cassette, it's doing like, I have this taste in my mouth. I don't know how to explain it. Like it feels full. Like it tastes nostalgic. I don't know how to explain it. Like thinking of the feeling. She's bringing
the taste out the pink room now.
Like what? And I remember that his song. He did a song with my sister, and he would always say like that she was on it. She's a artist as well, singer, producer, songwriter, mogul, manager, all of these things.
Oh damn!
I'm sure we'll bring her up a couple of times in this conversation.
What's her name?
Akela
and Iniko.
Yes. Shout out to my mom. She named us. Woo! Ate that up. There's also my brother too, Amasha.
Oh, I like that name, Amasha.
He's a rapper. So as you can see,
musicality runs in your family.
It's always been there, yeah. So I think it was his first song. I can't remember the name of the song, Mommy, that Akela is on. Do you remember it? She's singing in it. I think is it her and Amasha? I can't remember it, but that would be the first. Yes, We Live and We Learn. We Live and We Learn by Soldiers.
That sounds like a great reggae song.
Yes, his lyrics, he kind of, like when I was younger, was very, now I can say this, I don't think I realized it, like growing up, you know, you're a kid, there are just things that you always want to do. And I think like for me, you know, it was always this specifically, that specifically. So with music, he only had me listening to like the greats. Like it was only like Whitney Houston, Celine Dion, Mariah Carey,
Stevie.
Even Beyonce was on there, Bob Marley, Stevie Wonder, so many, but not so many. Like I want to say like 10 at most. And then like outside of that, it was a lot of Christian music, Christian rock, gospel, a lot of gospel.
Any country in there?
No.
I heard country is popular in Jamaica.
Not really, but like I myself like found, you know, once I discovered the internet, I was open, I started finding all of these other genres, including country. And it's not that I didn't know about country. It's just that when you grow up on something, like you only really branch out if you do it.
I love that. I started my journey with music when I was in college, and I went to school at Spelman in Atlanta, Georgia, from 2010 2014. This is Waka Flocka, throw that kind of music, like Travis Porter, all of them. Like obviously Waka Flocka didn't sing that song or rap that song, but just in general, just trap sound, you know.
Yes, trap sound
and I was
real.
like, I can't study to this, and I googled what can I study music, and then this website came up, and then like they had like the station, it was called 8 Tracks, the number 8, and it was a lot of ambient sounds and things like that, and I'm like, I never heard music without words before. That's how like sheltered my ear was.
But technically you have in movies.
Oh, you're right. Scores and things like that. And I love scores. I love a good score.
Scores.
I like to drive really fast on 75, 85 when I'm listening
to it. It's like you're in a movie.
Yeah.
That's what I love about them. I think that is also a big part of like my music. Like
I can tell in any of your videos.
I love film. I love television. I was speaking a little bit before we started about my dad. Like he was a big movie buff, like really big movie buff, but like specific films and all like films that like have stood and still stand the test of time. Like from when I was really young. I don't know if I can't recall if he had me sitting down and watching them, but like I do recall them being on the screen and thinking to myself, what's this? I don't know, but this music, like the storytelling of music, like even from the first film, like silent films, they weren't actually silent. There was music. There was always music to them in some way. So
music.
It always drives it. Can you imagine watching a Marvel film without any music? You wouldn't watch it.
No, and I wouldn't pay that I wouldn't go to the theaters for it either, because we go there for the cinematic experience.
Everything. It's kind of like, I think because music drives us in everyday life, it only makes sense for it to drive a story that is supposed to be perceived as life, suspending the reality for an hour and a half or so. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. I didn't think about it like that. Anyway, so I was saying all of that because I forgot what
you were saying. That you
hadn't heard music.
You started your music journey when you were looking for study music,
because you said you're like, you only really like discover new music when you do, like, and you have to either try. Yeah. So I was literally like, what could I study to? Trying to write my thesis, like up, like every night, all night studying. I found SoundCloud.
Woo.
Yes.
SoundCloud.
Yes.
Wow.
So we can talk about that too if you want to. I found SoundCloud and I was like, oh wow, there's this whole new world. Like a whole new, I didn't hit that right, but you know what I mean. It's a whole new world of music.
It was junky.
Then I was just the girl that was always showing everyone what I found on SoundCloud. Look,
please.
I found on SoundCloud Drea Vibes. I had a whole website based on it. Literally, I used to make playlists and like, God, I want to stop talking about myself. So we talk about you,
please.
But I used to make playlists and like I would like listen through each song and then just type whatever's coming to my mind as I listen to the songs. Like I would just literally narrate my experience with that music and then like release the playlist along with my like footnotes, I guess I would call it. I did that for a long time and now I work at SoundCloud. So it's a beautiful manifestation.
And then look at it. You kind of,
I did that.
As it,
I didn't even know what I was doing.
Everything makes.
Then I met these fellas, and then it was history from there. So there's a lot.
Happens as it happens.
Yes, but no, my mission is to inspire people to expand their taste in sound.
Real. That is so important. I think it's so important now more than ever, just because of like what music has done and can do. Like the power, like it holds so much power. It's been around for, I mean, as long as we can remember.
Yeah.
It's probably
as long as human life,
been around longer than that too. I'm thinking of like, I don't know if you've ever upon like looking up like study music, happen upon like, like just like frequencies, like
yes, I'm into that now.
Those kinds of things, like, because those frequencies, they've existed. These sound waves have existed before we did. And it's like
before we did.
Does it like is it music just because we can hear it and we can perceive it? Like, or like what is it outside of that? And I think like when we start to ask ourselves those questions, then we start to really understand how important music has been in the course of human history. Like it's always been there. Like it's just always been around. Like since transatlantic slavery happened, what did we bring with us? Music. Like we didn't leave it there. And like that's how sorry, something is happening. I'm feeling it in the back of my head and it's coming out of my throat. Yes, there are things that need to be said. That music is the conduit. That's the medium. That's how the messages get sent out. The messages that you need to hear. The messages that you already know that like
but those frequencies
exist within you. But like it invokes many things. It invokes some things, or it invokes nothing at all. It can invoke this emptiness too. But like I think in general, like you can't have the light without the dark. You need all of those moments to happen. It's what makes you human. It's what makes this
Do you think animals have music? Well, we're
I do.
animals, but like
I think animals,
birds.
have you ever like seen like animals like react to music? Like what they do?
I have not.
Like,
No,
so,
I never even thought to look at them.
okay, so like
when
I am like, just in general, like I was, this will come back to what we're talking about. So you were talking about like how you kind of, your journey as far as like finding new music and sharing that music and wanting people to know about it. So like for me, like I hyperfixate. Like there are many things like that I have happened upon, hyperfixated on for like 6 to 12 months and then like moved on to something else, which is why like there's so much music that I've heard and experienced, and also just things outside of that in general. So animals, right? I love animals. Like I've loved
all
them
kinds
since
of animals.
all kinds of animals. Like I love the idea of, okay, let's actually hold on there. Whoa. Listen, insects is it's a love-hate relationship because I understand the role that they play in
the ecosystem.
Yes, but it's like, wow, can you play it over there? Like, do you have to be right here? How did you get in here in my home? I don't understand. But yes, like all animals, they've just always like been interesting to me, like since I was a kid. And I used to have a lot of birds, hoping one day I can have another bird praying. I used to have a lot of birds, and when I would play music, like dependent on the song, they would like, bob their head. And like, I remember looking it up, and like, there isn't any real explanation for it other than the fact that they just enjoy it. Like they like what they're hearing. The same thing when like a dog like hears a human's voice or like hears something and they get excited. Like it invokes
still a frequency.
It invokes something in them. And that is so wild to me that like even with the birds, like they're on beat. Like when I would play trap music or when I would like he would like go like this and he would whistle and he's like singing along. Like that made me to realize like music is so much more than just music. Like this, it's a portal. It takes you somewhere else.
It's a portal. You get it. You get it.
I get it. We're here.
Thank you for coming to the Pink Room. These are the kind of conversations that I like to have. All right.
Same.
So that first part of the show was about like, what was your reflection on the beginning of your relationship with music. So we both shared ours. Now I want to kind of get into a little scene really quick before we break into square one of everything, all music. All right. I'm ready. I'm just going to pull from wherever my brain starts to go. All right. I'm thinking.
Closing my eyes.
I'm thinking, do you have any kids?
Sorry.
Don't laugh. Don't laugh.
What is going on? Not because yesterday somebody asked me the same question. No, not yesterday. The day before yesterday on my show. Like they were like, "Are you a parent?"
Not that you look like a parent. It's just important for this.
Oh, okay. No, you just asking that. Okay. I was about to like. I was like, is it something I'm doing?
No. All right. We're in the nursery, and Iniko is rocking her newborn child.
Please.
The nursery happens to be pink.
Okay.
Just because we're in the pink room.
Okay.
It's nice and plush. It's feeling really warm and cozy. And those vibes, the motherly vibes are there, obviously. What are you singing to your young child as you rock them back and forth?
I'm singing You'll Be in My Heart by Phil Collins.
Ooh, interesting. Did your dad play that too back in the day?
No, actually. It's from Tarzan.
Oh my gosh, yes.
Yeah, so I was like, we were talking about
Tarzan,
films.
nursery.
I love cartoons. I love animations. I always have. Tarzan was one of those films that I played over and over. And I was watching that on the cassette tape over and over again. The music in that. Phil Collins, he really ate that up. He did not. Rent was due because what? And that is a song that will stand the test of time. It is timeless.
When did that song come out?
When did Tarzan came out? Came out like the 90s, I think.
Tarzan. I remember seeing that in school.
I'm pretty sure it's like the
Tarzan,
90s.
1999.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was like first grade or kindergarten or something like that. Okay. All right.
It just made me feel so safe. Yeah.
Tarzan made you feel safe?
That song specifically. Because the scene that it happens in, it's when his ape mother is rocking him to sleep, like singing him a lullaby.
I love how, see, I love how that prompt got there. I usually prepare the scenes before this, but like this conversation, I feel like I'm just going to flow off of like what
it's doing a thing.
We'll pull from you. Okay.
It's doing a thing.
All right. So now I want to talk about square one, the beginning of everything, recording and writing. And you've had music in your family for as long as you can remember, right? Obviously. So when you were born, between the day you were born and the day you actually like first recorded yourself, like, how did you get to that point?
Well, you know, I see now how important like the music that I was listening to, like that was around me, and how important was to the music that I create. Like now, I have always been a really avid writer. I just wasn't writing music. I would write stories. I would write like books. I would write fan fiction. I wrote a whole book in like the 8th grade.
What?
Like, it was crazy. Like I wrote it with my best friend. It was 20 chapters.
20 chapters?
Yes.
You wrote a chapter book? A novel?
Yeah. I would like to eventually make it into a film or a show or something. I don't know. But the point is listen,
you never know.
You're here. We're here. But I would do that. I loved the idea of being able to tell a story. The first song I had written, I was like 13 years old, and I wrote it for my church's talent show that they were having.
I love how it always starts in the church. Sorry, I interrupted you.
No, yeah, I grew up in church, really. I was going to church like essentially every single day. Like I got baptized when I was 8 years old. Like it was a choice that I made, like all of the whole shabam. I was in and within the congregation.
We were all in church like that back in the day.
Like, please, I want to go home. Like,
right.
I want to go home. I want to eat. Can we eat the food that exists outside of the church?
The church, right.
Is that okay? Like,
however, that fourth Sunday would be lit though. You know what I'm talking about in the basement?
Yes. Yep. Yeah. The food would hit crazy with the Kool-Aid, because my church was like predominantly Caribbean. The Kool-Aid ginger beer situation.
Wait,
I don't
hold
know.
on now.
They would put
ginger
so
beer
much
in red
ginger.
Kool-Aid?
It was
I know why I gotta be red Kool-Aid.
Whoa, it was red. You just knew it was
ginger
red.
beer and red Kool-Aid, y'all.
Yeah,
when you come back to my house for a pregame next time, I'm making that, but with some liquor in it, with some rum or some.
Yes, that would hit crazy. All
right, we'll get back to mixology class later.
But
anyways,
yes. So that was the first song that I ever wrote, and it was also the first time I played the guitar like in front of anybody. But then I would, write songs like here and there, but never like would really like record them to be listened to. I would just like record them for myself. I had like this free program that I found online called Audacity, and it was just like I don't know if it was a production software or like
a called Audacity.
That's not funny.
The audacity to teach yourself music.
Right. Like, you have the audacity. Please. But I would just, so I would record myself. But what I would do is, because, I played the piano, but I didn't have like a MIDI controller. Like I didn't have a piano that connected to like an interface and stuff like that. I just had a normal keyboard, normal guitar. I didn't plug into anything. So I would just like record the sounds that I was making. So I was essentially just making like a cappella tracks, like just would be layering and stuff and all of these things, and being in choir and being classically trained, like all that stuff kind of played a role in some way, shape, or form. And it wasn't until I want to say 20, what was it? 20, what was I a freshman in college? 2015.
Damn.
2015
or
me. 2016. Please, it's fine.
I graduated in 2014.
Oh, wow. It's okay. You're not. It's
20
really
and 30.
Not even that far off. Don't stress me out. Stop. 2014, 2015, around that gap, I put out my first song, and that happened because after I graduated from 12th grade, my dad got me, like he got the whole setup really. Like he got like a keyboard, he got me Reasons, which is I think if you can ask any engineer, mixer, producer, Reasons is the hardest interface that you could ever have. I was like, Daddy, why would you get this for me?
Is Reasons like
am
a
singer.
Ableton, or is
It's Ableton is, yes, it's like Ableton, Reasons,
a digital audio workspace.
Yes, Pro Tools, those things. But he got it for me, and like I didn't have, it was all I had, so that's what I was gonna use. So I would every night, not even every night, every day, I think, like I just would go there and just start making music. Because when I started going to college, it was really hard for me. I didn't graduate. It was tough. I had a lot of social anxiety. I never really experienced that many different people before. I went to,
where'd you go to college at?
I went to college at St. John's.
Oh, okay. In
University.
Queens, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
So a lot of, to be fair though, like
it's a pretty diverse school.
It's super diverse, but again, to be fair, the school I went to before this, it was like 300 people in the school. It was a independent fundamental Christian school.
Oh.
That we might end up talking about it at some point too, but that it did a number on me, and it made it really hard for me to trust people, and and even before that, like, I only knew the people that I knew. Like I had never initiated any.
There wasn't social media
friendship relationship, and there was social media, but I didn't know these people. Like I had I'm glad you brought that up. I had parasocial relationships with like people that were like across the world. So because I was doing like fan fiction and stuff, and I would like upload my stories, like I had met people that were doing the same thing, and we were pen pals, I guess, but I had never met them in person. One of them I'd met. Another one, unfortunately, she passed. But that was like, that was really the bulk of like my friendships outside. Like, I think too, like when you're going to church like every day and you're that involved, like that is, if you are that involved, there's no branching out happening. And the branching out that happens is in the church, essentially.
Yes,
so
you're right. Yes.
It's not like, I don't know, like there's this, it's an interesting culture where like outside of that, everything feels very foreign. But I also think like when you boil it down to how Christianity, the Catholicism, all of these very big religions that stem from, colonization, or were heavily used in colonization, a big part of that is separating from the outside world, the secular world, essentially. So when I went to college, I was really unprepared. Like I was inoperable. The first year I didn't talk to anyone. Like I would just go to my classes, come back home. That was it. Like I didn't stay on because we were living on
campus.
Yeah, we were living in Queens, so it didn't really make sense. But I wanted to. Like I didn't want to be home just because I did feel like I was essentially lonely. Like I want to do stuff. So the second year was the year that I had like started doing things, and that wasn't because of me. It was because I remember I needed money, and I saw like a poster for like a talent show, and it was like prize money of like $350 or something. And I was like, oh, okay, I can just do this. Great. I'll just, I'll do this. That's it. I'm not going to talk to anyone. It's going to be great. Woo, nobody's going to talk. Mind you, I've been singing my whole life, and people are always like, for as long as I can remember, telling me, this is what you're meant to do. This is God's gift. This is all of these things. So keep in mind, I'd never actually sang in front of people outside of like, at this point,
the side of the world that you were in.
Like it was always church, really. So this was my first like talent show where I was like singing like songs that I really, really love and enjoy. And I didn't win. They had a senior win because they were like, oh, well, she's a senior, so like we wanted her to win. And I was like, she literally stole it. Like, and they told me what happened, and they were like, but if you do it next year, you'll win. And I was like, I understand.
You were not a...
But I wanted the money, but it's fine. Right. Sorry, it also wasn't $350. That was another talent show that I did win, and that made me do this one, which was like, it was $1,000. It came with $1,000 and a studio session. And I also got to meet, I opened for Nas because he was doing the homecoming for St. John's,
dope.
which was cool.
Okay, cool.
So that was really how I was able to somehow start branching out. And I joined the theater society. I always wanted to do theater and never really like got to. Yeah. Like I did it when I was really young. You can guess where? In church.
Yep.
Yes.
We all did. We all did.
That's what was happening.
Did you dance at all? Either were you a praise dancer too?
I was a big praise dancer.
That's what you said every day you were in church. I'm like choir practice, praise dance practice, everything. Bible study.
Yep.
Okay. Yeah.
Bible study, all the things. Cause we had to do the Bible study if we wanted to get baptized. Like it was a certain amount of classes and stuff that you had to take.
Oh, we had that.
Oh, listen, you know how many times I've read the Bible? Like
the whole thing?
The whole thing. Yeah. It's also like, it's a long read, but it's not that long if you like do it like consistently every day, which is kind of like, I think everything in general. But yeah, the first song that I can say was the first song that I was proud of. And like when it was out, I was like, yes, wow, I have music out. And don't fight me on it, is Pinocchio, actually. Like I had Sakura and Kingdom came out first, but I wasn't like super happy about it.
Pinocchio's how long or how old?
Pinocchio came out in 2019. Okay. One of those 2 years.
I think it was when I was digging into you outside of what I know of you. That was one of the first ones I played just because I was like, the cover art's kind of dope.
Thank you. That's my favorite cover art too.
Okay, yeah.
We did it at Floyd Bennett Field out here by Kings Plaza. Yes, the mosquitoes were attacking me. It was really stressful.
Insects.
Wow, but it came out lovely. Yeah. Yeah. That song was like the first time that I felt really, really, really good about a record. But as far as your question, like the first time that I really started like making my own music was 2017. Cause that's also when that's the year I came back from Japan, and Akela, my sister, she texted me and she was like, hey, do you wanna come to my vocal class? I'm gonna be having my first vocal class. She's also, sorry, I forgot. She's also a vocal teacher.
Oh, wow. Vocal teacher.
Yep.
Okay. Yeah,
all the things. Many things. And
shout out to your mom, by the way.
Hello.
She raised y'all.
Boy. And I was like, yeah, okay. And at this point, I'd never taken like a vocal class that was like geared towards like art, like secular music, I guess. Like,
what is secular music?
What is secular music?
Can you elaborate on that, please?
I would say and this is me using the terminology that like was used like when I was a practicing Christian in the church and stuff. Like they would always refer to secular music as any kind of music that isn't glorifying God. So like essentially, and so classical music doesn't count though. So like classical music is like, that doesn't count as secular music. That is actually okay, but it's essentially because it, the things that are really spoken about still are about God, Catholicism, because that's kind of like where it started to rise up as well, historically. Yeah. But that's how I would define secular music. And that was, before, I was doing choir. Yep. And then I was classically trained in a choir. So in the classical training, that's all the music we do. We just do like Latin music, like very, very old songs, different languages and stuff, like the like all those things. That's what we were doing. So this was the first time that I was developing my voice in an area really that wasn't really classical and wasn't really like super, super like gospel.
Yeah.
Like it was like R&B and
how did it feel?
Soul. It was very
how did that feel?
It gave me a lot of anxiety.
Really?
Because that was one of the things too, like growing up, that like I had always felt a bit like on the outside as far as like the music that I listened to, because like all of the people that I knew at the very least, like in church and stuff, like they knew about
Destiny's Child,
Chris Brown, and
that was
Omarion,
definitely those days.
B2K, like those things I didn't listen to. I wasn't allowed to. Like I wasn't allowed to listen to. I didn't start listening to R&B, rap, hip hop until college, until Japan. Really.
Do you see my face? I'm like,
I get it. But you also got to keep this in mind too. Like it was, now I think like Baptist churches, there's a little bit more leniency.
Were you a Baptist church?
It was Baptist, yeah.
Same.
Leniency when it comes to like, rap music and hip hop, like a lot of, like, I mean, we're seeing a lot of it now where we're seeing a lot of like gospel trap and gospel rap and gospel hip hop and stuff. But the school that I went to, like, I just want to say don't quote me on it, but I'm almost certain like that place is a cult. And like it really warped my mind. Like it started to warp my mind. And I wasn't essentially trying to fight it, but I realized like how
limited,
not even limited, how much like I started to like, I was like, rap music, not that shoot 'em up bang bang. Not, like that is also what they taught. Like that was in the curriculum that they would teach you. Like it was also very racist, like extremely racist, extremely prejudiced.
I'm cringing right now.
There. And I developed like an aversion to it, I have to admit, because it's a part of why I ended up coming back to it. So when I was in Japan, the whole reason I was there was because I really just wanted to get over my social anxiety. And I thought the only way I can do that is if I put myself in a place where I don't have a choice. I don't have a choice but to talk. I have to talk to people. Not only do I have to talk to people, I got to learn a different language. So now you have to be intentional.
You did learn Japanese. Obviously, you were there for a year. Let's talk about Japan and your musical experiences there. Let's get into that.
My musical experiences there wasn't much. I actually didn't do a lot of music there, but that's kind of because I didn't know anyone.
Well, how did it help you grow? Because everything that made you who you are is what comes out in your music. Yeah.
Japan is the reason that I am able to have a conversation with you and not have an anxiety attack and like not like freak out and like cry because I'm talking to a new person. I was there for 11 months or so. I remember the first 2 months it was really hard because the first week I had an allergy attack to nuts. And I was like, wow, are we being for real right now?
Right,
like, please. I also had an allergy attack before I left Japan too. Wait. I had went to Juve.
Why did you go to Japan?
Why did I go to Japan? Yes. I went to Japan because I really was feeling trapped. I wasn't enjoying my college experience, even though like, I had at this point I had joined the theater club, the theater society. I had made a couple of friends here and there, but I just still felt really trapped at home. And I needed to go. And it definitely, if it wasn't for Akela like texting me and then also calling my dad, because my dad didn't want me to go. Like he was like,
sure
no,
he didn't.
Like, why are you going to Japan? For what? Like,
baby,
what's the reason?
Yeah.
And Akela was like, stop playing with me. That's, she's the older sister to me, but the oldest is my brother. But she was like, you're gonna go. Because I texted her and I was like, I'm not going. And it was like literally the night of, like, I think it was we bought the ticket that day. And the tickets was $1,000. Whoa. But she was like, no, you're going. And I packed everything, like all of that. And I was just, in 16 hours, I was in Japan. And it was crazy because like, I was like, wow, well, now I'm really like alone. This is interesting. Like, not that of course I've experienced being alone, but I'm so used to just being around the same people, the same energy. So this was like
energy, yeah.
It was crazy. I was like, whoa, whoa, whoa. I didn't get lost though. I was able to find my way. Shout out to Google Maps. Bop, bop. Ubers over there, if I recall at the time, like they technically aren't legal, yeah. But every now and then while living there, I was able to catch an Uber. But this was the first day I remember, and I found the place I was living in. I decided to stay in a just based on like finances too, like stay in a guest house. It's like it's basically a dorm. Like it's basically, you know, a bunch of people living in this building. We all have our own rooms. The rooms are very tiny.
Yeah.
Like when I say this rug is bigger than the room in the what the unit was, I would say it was half of this.
Ooh.
And it fit my closet, it fit a little mini refrigerator and a little bed. And I came into the room and I saw it and I was like, I don't know. I like the closeness. I think that's what it is. Like it made me feel like safe. And I also knew I wasn't going to lose nothing because it's probably right there. And right, 2 feet away, where the room ends.
Where my lip gloss at?
Hello,
it's right there,
right there. And so I the reason why I picked it too was because there were spaces that were shared. So the kitchen, the living room, the lounge area, all of that, and the bathroom too, showers were all shared. So in Japan, it's right. So in Japan, and I think specific East Asian cultures, like it's normal to bathe like together, like with other people. Like it's just a
shower or bathe.
Shower.
Okay.
Shower. I mean, shower. There are bathhouses. I know you've heard of bathhouses and things like that. That kind of originates from these places. Like Japan, they're big on bathhouses. So like spas, like those spa places that we have here, like that comes from that culture of like, you know, we're gonna go clean ourselves. Like it's kind of just a community activity, really. Now, however, like here, you know, you have the curtains and stuff, but it's not as like you just like you're not expecting somebody to like peek through the curtain like you would here. Oh, to be fair. However, of course, every
sexualized.
Every place has its, you know, has its downfalls, but you know, that's the world we live in. But that's why I picked it, because it was shared. So I would be forced to be around people and talk to them. However, I didn't start talking to people until like a month in.
That's good. I mean,
you know, I it wasn't me that was talking. They were talking to me, and I really wanted to get better at my Japanese. Like before that, I had studied it for 2 years, but with any language, it's not going to stay with you unless you are practicing it every day and you're speaking it and you're speaking it conversationally. So that was really when that started happening, like when people started talking to me, and like I was like, oh wow, people like want to talk to me. And I think what it was that somebody had came up to me about, like literally, no lie, the first thing, they were like, I think I heard you singing in your room. You have a really nice voice. Like, are you a singer? And I was like,
I like that.
Mm-hmm, yeah, I am. I actually, no lie, I sang for like mad birthdays, like when I was there, because like we would have birthday celebrations there too. Yeah. So that's what I loved as well. Like it was literally like
you were
a community.
Singing for people's birthday parties?
Yes, they would ask me to sing. So I'd be like, okay, they're like, we want Iniko to sing happy birthday. And I'm like, okay, sure. I sang it 2 weeks ago, but why not? That's fine. But I loved it. I loved it because it was forcing me to interact with people from all over. So it wasn't just Japanese people. Like there were Japanese people there that lived there, but like it was like a guest house of just foreigners in general to Japan. Yeah. So like I was meeting people from Australia. I made a friend from Australia. I made a friend from Austria. I made a friend that was staying because, you know, she was just taking a break from Egypt. I met someone who was like so many different experiences. I met someone who was running away from their family. Like, and they were like, you know, I'm just kind of staying here for a little bit, but like, I kind of want to live here. I met somebody who's a hockey player, and he just like, he was on a team, but like he said that, you know, he needed something cheaper and he just wanted to chill here. Like we were all just, it was weird. We were all kind of there for the same kind of reason, like there for some kind of safety, something else, something different. And staying there really made me realize how important it is to communicate. Yeah. In all forms. I
love that. I think that still relates to your music too, because your music communicates to any and everyone. It's not like you're, you know, rapping from a certain type of hood and only people in the hood know what you're talking about. Like it's very clear. You will be one of the greatest. Just being, you know, like you say, you're very direct in like what you're trying to communicate, and that's how I can tell. I feel it coming directly from your soul, and I love that about music.
Same.
But before we get into talking more so about your Brink and the King's Affirmation, I'm gonna switch it up. We're gonna go to another scene.
Ooh.
All right. Another question.
Okay.
Do you have a green thumb?
Do you mean like, do I
Plants.
My mom does.
Okay, we're just gonna pretend.
Oh,
All right.
jeez.
We're gonna pretend we're with mommy Iniko and we're in the garden.
Okay.
We might actually be in Jamaica. We might be in the gardens in Jamaica.
Okay.
All right. And we are helping her pull the weeds, tend to and groom all of the beautiful seeds and things out there. The birds are chirping. The sun is bright. The colors are even brighter. What song is playing as you all narrate, your session with the earth?
I wanna love you. That song.
From head to toe.
No. Bob Marley. What's that song called? What is the name of that song?
Is this love? Is this love?
Is this love or is it I Wanna Love You? One of those.
Is this love?
Is this love? Yeah.
I love that.
Is this love? Is this love?
I gotta listen to that today. Yeah.
I was seeing it like as you were describing it. I saw it as like, how like there's like that filter that like is like it's like a film industry staple for when it's like a place that isn't America. Like it's like yellow, kind of the screen.
The cast they have on there.
Yes, it's like the racial cast. But that's what I was seeing. I saw that. I saw like the sun shining. Kind of reminded me of Rihanna's video for Man Down.
Oh my gosh, I love that video. That's when she's in Barbados, right? I just watched that for the first time, and like I know I had never seen it before. I had never seen a Man Down.
I was a big Rihanna fan.
That was my least favorite song from the project. It was.
Yep, we're gonna stop talking there because I will leave.
It's a great song, though.
I'm kidding. From the project altogether.
From that project,
I can understand.
From that
I can understand.
Yeah.
Being a Caribbean person, that is why it's one of my favorite songs by Rihanna.
That makes so much
because like
sense.
she doesn't do a lot of like Caribbean music like that. Like it's really big, mainstream pop, EDM, hip hop, which makes sense. So when she did that, it was.
Yeah, she did it for y'all. She did it for them folks. All right.
Real.
Let's talk about the King's affirmation.
Yes.
All right. In this segment, I like talking about like the brink of your breakout moment, or your breakout moment as it is essentially the brink of, you reaching a new milestone in the cultural status, I guess, whatever. But regardless, I was introduced to Iniko through the King's affirmation on TikTok. God damn it, we gotta say TikTok with everything these days. But I mean, I was.
Listen.
And I remember being like, dang, who is this feeling like this about their self? And like everyone else is catching on. So I'm like, oh wow, I guess, it's a cool thing to affirm yourself now. And not to say I thought it was not cool, but it was just something that I think you experience in your own spaces, in your own time, or you're just strong. I don't want to say strong enough, but like you become more self-aware to be able to tend to yourself in that type of way, to give yourself these affirmations. I didn't even know what affirmations was or were until I guess this journey of self-care and self-discovery and whatever. But even still, my affirmations were sticky notes on my vanity, in my whatchamacallit. It wasn't through a song I heard or reels or videos I heard on TikTok. And so I think it kind of like made a lot of people feel a little more safe and not safe, but a little bit more, it felt like affirmations were an accessible thing. It wasn't something you had to go heal for. Like, no, just turn that on right now.
Literally,
feel it,
as you were talking, what came to mind was the fact that like everything you say is an affirmation. Everything you think is an affirmation. And when you start to think, when people start to realize that, that's when we realize how important words are to your reality, really, or the reality that you are choosing to accept, that you're choosing to see. Yeah. And you can really limit yourself out, outside of all the social and societal restrictions that we essentially I don't want to say we don't have control over, because like anything is possible. We are as powerful as we say that we are. But outside of that, like knowing that it is the words and the thoughts that shape the things that happen around you, that's true power. That's true greatness. And that was really, I guess, the core of why I made the King's affirmation. It came about because I had experienced some some cyberbullying for the first time online, and not the first time, but it was like an influx of it. And I think cyberbullying is like not a great word for it. It was more so erasure. I was feeling erased. I was feeling like people were, I mean, that's what's happening, because we always have a choice when it comes to what we do and what we don't do. It was a point where one of my videos went viral. It wasn't the King's Affirmation, clearly it wasn't out yet. But one of my videos went viral. Like somebody posted it on their story, like somebody famous, I think. I don't remember. But usually when that happens, just in general, like I'll get like an influx of followers that don't know me. You know, I don't expect these people to know me. But it was really hard. It's always hard when people refer to me outside of who I am and what I am. And it's essentially a part of this. It's not something that I can essentially escape. However, social media in general, like the way that's set up, like having an influx of so many people speaking about you, but it's not you. Like it's this perception that they have of you. So being, referred to it in that way, people saying she, her, oh my God, like she's a queen, she's a goddess. Look at this gorgeous woman. Like, wow, like you are what we need for the females, like the female this and it was, wow. When that happens, when I experience it, when it is said to me and about me, it feels like, that moment where somebody says something to you that hurt, like, and it, like your gut drops, like that feeling, and it kind of makes you want to cry.
You just cringed a little bit.
I feel that every day. Just because, I can't not be on social media, because social media is a medium and I have an intention for it, to reach people. Like that's it. It doesn't matter who. And so that's why I always remind myself of that when those things happen. But at the time it was extremely triggering, and something had happened where because it was so many people, I was like, I'll just make a post about it, just letting people know like what my pronouns are and that I'm genderless and that, I'm really excited for the journey and stuff. And somebody reported it. They reported the post. And
you report that? What is the report for?
They reported it for nudity and sexual content. And Instagram took it down, and it's still affected my account to this day. Like it, like algorithm wise, like I think like my account has been like forever flagged.
Shadowed.
Yeah, in that
shadows,
way.
Whatever they call it. Yeah.
Shadow banned.
Yeah.
And it was really hard for me. I'm like tearing up thinking about it now, like because it reminded me of everything that I had to go through when I was growing up. Like it was like, wow, here I go again. Right. All of these people telling me who I'm supposed to be and how I'm supposed to be. Wow. And I took a break from posting for like, I want to say like about a week or so. And I spoke to my therapist. Thank God for her.
Oh, shout out to therapy.
Hello.
I'm still trying to get back into it.
Shout out for real. Cause wow. What? I spoke to my therapist. And my remedy for experiencing these things is to transmute it into song. And I wasn't even gonna make the song, but then something else happened on Twitter where people were saying that, no lie, they were like, wow, nobody's ever gonna want to listen to you. Like, this voice makes me want to kill myself. That's crazy.
Who said?
I don't know. It was a couple of people though. It was enough people. Like, so there's this thing on Twitter called Spaces. Or something.
They were talking about you in a space, so like Clubhouse. But like
so they had like there was a space where they had like the people were singing, and I was like, oh, I want to sing. I just sometimes just be wanting to sing, and I did. I don't think I did bad. I thought it was pretty good. But apparently a lot of people did not like it and decided to share that online. I think that's very interesting too, because it's like y'all are hashtagging this like. I'm gonna see this. And I understand that, like, oh, you know, there's people like, oh, well, it's the internet. Like, you shouldn't be on the internet if you're sensitive in that way. No, you guys are just so far removed from like humanity and the fact that people feel things, like the fact that like the things that you say have repercussions. On top of that digital footprint, the shit is here forever. It's never going away. And on top of that, it's like a list, you know, when you're scrolling, you're seeing all of that. So that overwhelmed me and I was triggered. It was a lot. I ended up, that's how I wrote it. It was like my response to all of that. And it was my sister. Here we go. She's back. Akela, she came in and she was like, what if you did a rewrite to Do We Have a Problem by Nicki Minaj featuring Lil Baby? And that's what I do on my page. I'll do like different rewrites and reimagines and stuff. And I was like, are you sure? Like, is that... This dude's like, yeah. And I was like, oh, okay, cool. So I reproduced it, the whole beat and stuff, and something was missing for me. And before I started writing, I added like the oh that's in the beginning of the King's Affirmation before the words start. And then I just looped that and I heard the like the melody came first. And then
that just came to you.
Yes. Then the words started to come. Like it was like hitting me in the back of my head. And that was it. And I recorded it. Like I laid it down. And that was like the first like version of it. It's not up anymore. But that was the first version that I had done. And like it went like a little viral. Like it got like 20,000 likes or something like that. Okay. And then that's enough now. Right. It was something. And I didn't really revisit it. But I would listen. I realized I would listen to it on my phone. Like I would be listening to it over and over again on my own time. And something told me like one day to just put on some makeup and just sit on the ground and sing it a cappella. Like don't do anything. And I was like, all right, whatever. Like I guess I'll just do this. Let's see what happens. And I did it.
Reach the folks.
I did one take and then I hated it. And I was like, I'm just going to post it.
Yeah,
whatever.
Thank you. Okay.
Oh.
I mean, you did. But like, I was like...
Just to be fair, that's me all the time. Okay. Like with everything. I'm just like, wow, this can be better. Maybe if I... But it was also late. I was like, I'm tired. So I just posted it and I didn't check it. Like, that's what I do when I post things. I'll just post it and then run away. And I went to sleep. And then I woke up and my phone was like... blowing up. I could not understand what was going on. I was like, why is there so many notifications? Because it wasn't the first time that I'd had a viral video. Like it's happened many times actually, but this was the first time that it happened so fast. And it was like so many people. And I was like, what is going on? And people started duetting and like just seeing
already after one. That's crazy.
Yo, it's fast. Like so fast. And I was like, wait, hold on. This means I have to finish the song because I knew, I already knew what was happening. So I literally I wrote the second verse really fast. And then I just sent all the stems and everything to Akela. And no lie,
she does that too?
She is okay.
Kayla is a one-stop queen. Okay.
Nah, so I sent the stems to her, but her fiance and my soon-to-be brother-in-law, he's my engineer, mixer, producer, all that stuff. So I was essentially sending it to him, but she also produces as well. Just if we're just getting that out there. But I sent it to her, and this was actually this song I think was how long it took to be created. Now, granted, like I think all songs in general, like for me, in order for me to put out something that is really like I want people to like continue listening to and coming back to, I know that like I can't rush it. I know that I can't just do it and then like I gotta like it needs to be the sound. It's a soundscape. You're creating worlds with sounds. You know, like we said,
soundscape. I like portals. That word. Thank you.
Going through. Yeah. And so it took about a month or so, I want to say, 3 weeks or so to, you know, really put everything in there. And even then, like, we still say to this day that we kind of wish we had more time. But listen, there will probably be a new mix of King's Affirmation, but that's not what I'm saying right now. Anyways, the point is that, like, it was really rushed because of it was like a fire, like it, and now it became a, you know, just to to tell you the truth, like for the reality, for all musicians, I just want people to understand, like, wow, it's really important that people understand how important our music is to us. And that, like, I know that we are in a world and we're living in a time where remixes are like, they happen. The remix come out before the actual song. Like,
damn near
that, and that is
the
kind
snippet
of
comes out, then
that's
everybody want to
literally
remix
what
it.
happened with mine. Like, somebody had done that official version is out now too, because we ended up he had reached out and my sister made the connection and we ended up doing that, because that was the version that kind of also made it go even more viral.
The chill mix, or
the chill mix.
Yeah, I like that.
Yes. I think that was the first duet that was made with that. He was really quick. Ruel Williams is his name. He's from Trinidad. Yeah.
Shout out to the Caribbean.
Papa. Done know how it is. But yeah, so like that version had come out, but it wasn't out yet. It was just on TikTok. But he honestly, there was, I can say this with my whole chest, it was very few artists that like respected the fact that the song was not done and that it wasn't out yet. And he respected that, and he kept it to TikTok, and he always told people who it was, like that, hey, like you can't just post this on YouTube. Like that is taking money out of my pocket, which it did. The entire process of the King's Affirmation, like how it even came to be, like the amount of versions that were out streaming everywhere with my voice on it without my consent was really tough for us, because like at that time I wasn't signed to Columbia right now, so it's like it's like a joint venture, so it's like half and half, so it's like I'm still indie, but I'm still like, it's like indie major.
You got a little bit of like the machine behind you on that side.
Exactly. So before this I wasn't signed, so it was just us like making all these copyright reports. I know the numbers. I don't know the numbers, but it was well over like 1,000, more than 2,000. Like it was a lot. Like, and it was also extremely traumatizing.
What did it teach you?
It taught me that a lot of people who say they are artists, who say they care about music, don't actually care about music. All they care about is themselves, and all they care about is clout. And that made me a bit more present and making sure that like who I work with, who I collaborate with, who I do anything with, it's very important that they know like the power of music, what it can do. And I think that if you are aware of that, excuse me, if you're aware of that, then you will move intentionally and you will move genuinely in the art that you create and the art that you do. And that's really what it taught me. It also taught me that like I don't ever want to go through that ever again. It was really hard for me. Like I would hear the song and I would get PTSD. Like my gut would drop. I would hear my own song because I would hear it and I knew that the sound that they were using wasn't my sound. Like I knew it was a sound that somebody else.
You hear it, it's like that's not coming down to me.
When the song came out, the day the song was released, the sound was muted on TikTok.
What?
It was muted on TikTok for copyright infringement. And
why? Because someone else had claim on it?
It's weird. Like I don't even know how to describe it.
How'd you distro it?
It has to, I was going to say, it has to do with DistroKid. Like it's on their part. This is also something that needs to happen in general with streaming services and like distribution services. I'm going to need them to actually care about their artists that exist outside of the major realm. Like the amount of like kind of it's all about the numbers. That's all they care about. They'll only care if there's numbers being made. And even then they barely care. So it was muted for a month.
A whole month?
I want you to know it was only my sound that was muted. Everybody else's sound was fine.
Yes.
And I was just like,
golly.
I also didn't say anything about it really. Like I think I made like a little post like on my Instagram story, but like I chose to not say anything because I don't know. I think it was more of a learning experience for me too. And also it was affecting me very greatly, both negatively and positively. And so I thought it was really important that I was just present in that moment and like not really like speaking on it when I just started to feel really big feelings. But it ended up getting unmuted, thankfully, but what had happened was like there was somebody else that had done a cover of the song, and people were like really up in arms about it because I guess he had done a cover, but he didn't tag me at first, and people started tagging me a lot in the comments too. So I had just turned off my notifications because that was happening a lot as well. Notifications is mad funny. That. Just leave out the whole syllable, please. But that had happened, and that lit another fire underneath the song, because now people are like, okay, well, what's the song that he's like? I've heard the song, but it's not his. So what's happening? Because he wasn't. People were asking what the song was. He wasn't necessarily telling them, but also it was in the caption. So like, I thought for me, I was like, I guess this is whatever. I'm not.
They know the song by now. Yeah.
I just didn't feel like saying anything. But you know what? The people that listened to me and like the fans, they went crazy. And like, I guess when that happened, like people started making like videos and stuff about how like this person stole my song and things. And that I know that a lot of people did that to just, you know, fit a narrative and drive their own numbers, because that's not actually what happened. If we're being honest, like what they highlighted, which I didn't like, was the fact that he was Asian, that he was a Chinese singer, and like he's stealing from like this Black artist. Actually, the people that did the most stealing from me were other Black artists. That's the truth. And that is it's a hard truth, but I think like there is that sense of camaraderie in the Black music community has not existed for a long time. And I think it's coming back. I think that what's happening now with music, this opening up, like but there's this idea that we have to do this on our own, that like it's me and nobody else.
Into this next segment of like just like trends or anything that you're noticed that's been happening in music since you've spread your wings to the world.
Yeah. I you know, and it's still, I think it's changing, but I felt like that was something that I didn't really notice until like I noticed, and I was like, wow, like why are y'all doing this? Like, why don't you, like, all you have to do is tag me. Like, why are you getting so mean when I just asked for you to tag me? Like, you wouldn't have created this remix if you didn't hear my voice. Like, that is, and I hate how we're like we've been doing this thing where we're minimizing samples. Like, hold on, like, it's not just a sample. Like, it's a whole song. It's a whole voice, a whole person. Like, it's a projection of another person. Like, you wouldn't have these remixes if these original songs didn't exist. Like, and I think like I'm very passionate about that because, one, I am Black, and like I think Blackness in general has been stolen in all forms, in all counts of that. And then specifically, I am Jamaican, and reggae and dancehall, like, those things are probably one of the heaviest sampled like things in music.
They are.
And they don't get the credit that they deserve. Like Lady Saw, she didn't start getting like royalties for her credits until 34 years later, which is nuts to me.
Are you serious?
34 is that's not crazy. And her music has been, you've heard it in so much music, but like people.
How do people get away with that?
I don't know. And I always thought about that too, because like even when you think about like the suits and stuff that happen in music that you'll hear like here and there, or like you'll see like a smaller band or like a indie artist or something like suing so and so big name artist for like what do they call it? Interpolation in the song, or like lyrics that are exactly like it. I think it happened with Miley Cyrus for "We Can't Stop." That whole chorus was a song, like and it sounded just like it. And in my head, I'm like, I know y'all knew this. Why didn't we gotta? What y'all gotta be doing that research, because like it's music is powerful, and it's gonna, you know, I think it's really important too, like, knowing what music can do. Like, it's important to know the source. It's important to know where it came from, because then like that opens you up to know like who this person is and their experiences, and then, you know, it's a whole other realm after that. Like, you're essentially like connecting.
That's what the Pink Room is for.
Hello.
That's it. This is perfect. I think we're at time, but I want you to ask me questions too if you have any. But my last question for you is one last question. Did you write the King's affirmation down on paper?
No.
You didn't write it on paper?
I don't. Please don't fight me on it. But I haven't touched a pen. Like I literally touched a pen yesterday. Then that was because I was signing something for somebody.
Okay.
But I type a lot, but it's because I am prone to lose things.
Yeah.
So like I would lose the book that the paper is in. Like,
Damn, the whole book.
Yeah, that's why I like being in small rooms because, well, I don't want to lose it. Even in the room that I'm in right now, I still lose things.
Okay.
Like, so I'm always like typing things out. But I had typed out the King's Affirmation. It's also faster for me too because the words be coming fast and like it's just easier to like make like, you know, changes and stuff when it comes to that. But no, I didn't.
I was just thinking about how it would feel for me to literally physically experience writing those words out on paper. I experience a lot when I listen to music. And remember I was telling you I like to type those bullet points. Like whenever I write them, it feels a little bit more real. It feels a little bit more vulnerable.
Yeah.
But it's something that came to mind. So I was wondering if you wrote it on paper. I want to see it. I want to touch it. I want to hold it.
I used to write, like with the writing I was talking about, I would journal and stuff, but not for long. Then I would stop. I could have never consistently journal. Okay.
Yeah. What questions do you have for me?
What are the questions that I have for you?
We have 3 questions.
I think one question that I have for you is, wow, I want to ask you, what's the first song that you've ever listened to, if you could remember?
It was involuntary because I was like 3 or 4 maybe, but it was I Ain't Mad at You by Tupac. Yep.
Yeah. It's you saying that with a smile. Mm-hmm.
Yep, that was it.
Exactly.
That was it.
Yo, that is...
I was in the living room. My dad was on the couch, probably scratching his balls.
This is a lot. Hold on.
I just remember. I know.
Oh.
Yo, well, let me just say this, because I know Daddy watching. I hate when you scratch your balls and you touch the refrigerator handles.
Oh my God.
I really do. I really do.
I'm sorry.
I'm sorry. I can't stand it.
So
and Mama knows. I told her to tell you about yourself. Anyways.
Yeah, but you know what? It's okay. Okay. What's the second question I have for you? What was your high school experience like?
Oh, Jesus.
I'm dead.
I had high school on 2 different sides of the world. Right?
Oh, cool.
2 years of high school was in Indiana, Bumble, Indiana, West Lafayette. I was 9th and 10th grade in Indiana. Like I was like the only black girl.
Oh my God.
I wasn't the only black girl, but I was the only black girl like me. That was a little bit more privileged. So it was like I wanted to be with my black friends, but they came from a completely different side of the fence than where I came from, and it wasn't necessarily the safest for me to be around them too either. I got in a lot of trouble around with them.
Damn.
But then I was a cheerleader and I ran track a little bit.
Oh my
so,
God, of course you were a cheerleader.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I was
track.
a cheerleader. Yeah.
That's a good mix.
Come on now.
Yep.
But my high school experience was traumatizing because I was like, I didn't know how black I was supposed to be or if I was even considered black because they didn't really like, I was the girl with the 2-story house and they would, you know what I mean? It was like that kind of dynamic. And I was also a bully back then too because it was like me and this other girl that were both like the 2 privileged black girls, but I was the one on this side with the black people and she was on the other side. And I was a nasty person back then, at least. Well, I'm still a great person, but back then I think I was trying to feed into what I thought I was supposed to be.
I think it's really important that, you know, I say that I'm really proud of you for like,
thank you,
acknowledging that and like holding yourself accountable because like, I want to say that 95% of the people in this world are bullies and still are bullies. Like they don't grow out of it. They continue to bully. They continue to, but that, I think that is what separates. So I wouldn't like you were a bully, but I labels again, we use labels to define things, but I wouldn't say that was your identity.
No,
I
it
think
was not.
that was what you, like you said, you fed into that because you were essentially
fighting to be accepted.
It's cry for help.
Yeah.
Everybody that bullies you want to be heard. You want to be seen. You want to be seen as the way that you want to be seen. I think it just manifests differently in people. And thank you. Thank you for like acknowledging that and
thank you.
Here you are now. I think that says a lot.
Yeah. The second half of my high school experience was in Delaware, Newark, Delaware. I went to Christiana High School. And in Indiana, it was William Henry Harrison High School, the Raiders. And then in Delaware, it was Christiana High School Vikings. I cheered for both, but then when I cheered for the Vikings, it was all black cheerleading squad.
What?
So I went from
just gonna pass through that. Yeah, she's just gonna keep talking.
I can't really do it right here.
Okay.
Oh yeah. The Christiana Vikings.
Okay.
So
yeah.
that was our mascot in high school.
Cool.
But that school was predominantly black, and it was my first time being around a predominantly black school. I had my first boyfriend finally, because I was opposed to dating outside of my race at the time. I guess I kind of still am, but I don't know. Whatever. Either way, I wanted like I was the cheerleader, he was a football player, whatever.
Wow,
shout out to him. I don't know where the hell he at right now, but I wonder where Jordan Asbury at. That's his name.
Where you at?
Where you at, boo?
If you're here, comment.
Nah,
down
he ain't here. Either way, that experience was different, but it was a different academic experience too. Because in Indiana, that was a really, really good public school. Christiana High School was one of the worst public schools in Delaware. So I didn't even learn for 2 years, but I was already super smart anyway. And I was on the honor society. I was cheerleading. I was track. I was all that other stuff.
I'm gonna be honest. Like, I think I was watching something like street smart is like that is an education. Like, it's been seen as like scientifically. Like, street smart is what you need really to exist in the world outside of like also our education system.
I learned a lot of street smarts at Christiana High School.
I mean, I don't think you had a choice.
Yeah, I didn't. Shout out to my best friend Ashley Johnson. And Drea, her husband. They've been together since like they're in 8th grade. So when I met them in high school, they were already in a relationship for like 3-4 years. I was like, what is this? Now they're married with a kid or two, one on the way. Anyways, what's your last question for me before I start talking about my trauma in high school?
Well, honestly, that's what I wanted you to talk about, but it's fine. That's another episode.
Not yet.
I think my last question is, I wanted to ask what your parents do, or what your folks did that had you moving around like that.
My dad is a research chemist, so he
cool.
They met in college. They went to Alcorn State, then he went to Mississippi State for grad school to get a graduate degree or master's in chemistry. Yeah. But he works on a specific compound, fluorine, whatever. Again, if you're watching, I hope you're watching.
Wow.
And so it's not like he was in the military. He just literally like could only get jobs in certain types of fields. So when I was living in El Dorado, Arkansas, I went to one of those Catholic schools or like really culty schools. Terrible experience. We're not going to talk about that. But he was working on a plant there. And then in Indiana, he was working at this chemical corporation there. Then now in Delaware, he works for one of like the biggest chemical corporations, or a subsidiary of it. Well, whatever. They be doing some weird.
No. But I get it.
DuPont. So yeah.
Nice. Wow.
So yeah.
Yo.
yeah. You know what I mean? So that's why we're in Delaware. They're in Delaware now, but they moved me around a lot. But I love it. I can talk to anybody.
And that is why it's so important to like be exposed to different people in different places and different spaces and things. However, like, while I am grateful for the experiences I've had, and I'm sure you're grateful too, I do think that like we can always be more intentional, especially when it comes to like, you know, the generation that will come after us, or, you know, if you plan on having kids, wanting kids,
whatever
like it's
is. I'm sorry.
It's okay, because I'm the same. Listen, this ain't for me. But I think it's important that like people know like how important it is where you are, like environmentally, because it is your environment that affects you. It makes you, it creates those moments in your life that you'll never forget. And it's really dependent on the environment too. Yeah. And I feel like if more people knew that, I think people know it, but like if more people knew it, you know, people wouldn't have so much trauma.
Well, again, that's why the pink room is a thing. I love how you're kind of helping me recap everything. No, everything about your environment and all your experiences and your relationship with music is what has essentially, you know, feeds into the labor you put in it, number one, and then like what we receive from it. Yeah. So getting to know you through this conversation has been so rewarding. It's probably one of the longest ones we've done so far. It just didn't feel, don't apologize. To do that. No. I wanted to get as much as I can.
I understand. Good.
I really had a great experience.
That's good. I had a good time too.
Thanks for coming to the pink room. We're gonna wrap it up right here.
Let's do it.
I enjoyed you triggering me with my high school trauma. But
that's what I do.
Maybe I'll go write about that or think about that tonight in the studio when I'm drunk with my friends.
I'll be waiting.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Waiting. Okay, I'm gonna show you. Let me wrap this up, then I'm gonna show you something. Okay. All right. Bye, y'all. Thanks for tuning in. See you later.
Bye.